You guys. Also, no fighting while I'm recording, okay?
In.
Okay, so I just kicked that off. Let's go live to Facebook. Dun, dun, dun. Please and thank you. Okay, there we go. All right, got it. Okay, welcome back. So this is our first time doing an annual review, which is exciting. And this is also one of our first times of allowing the Zoom meeting to be open to the public. So we're still working out kinks and figuring things out. But if you're looking to join, as soon as this loads, I will go ahead and I'll post the link in the comments. And then the password is market. So it will be market every single time. And then I also have an email campaign that I'm setting up. So that way, if you want to be notified one day in advance, whenever we're doing our Facebook Lives of what they actually are. And then also I'll have links to our YouTube channel. So that way you can watch past ones. I went back yesterday and added to the comments the, what was that sheet that you sent me, Brian?
Oh, the appreciation numbers from last year.
Yes. So I posted the appreciation numbers from last year. I also posted a link that we reference information from as well. And so sometimes it kind of gets lost and it's hard to find in the comments. And so after our meetings, we'll be able to send out different takeaways. We'll be able to send out those graphs and information. We'll also have an invitation to have you come join us if you want to run the analysis on yourself. So that makes it really turnkey and easy. So with these, it's exactly what you're asking for. So this isn't a subscription. We're going to spam you with a ton of different things. It's strictly only for Facebook market analysis. We only meet once a month. That's every Wednesday, or the first Wednesday of every month at 10 o'clock a.m. So all of those things are coming in the works. As soon as we have them, we'll post them on the Brick by Brick Facebook page, and then I'm sure we'll be mentioning it as we go. Thanks, Liz, for joining us. Just to like proof of concept, Liz, can you unmute yourself and tell us if this was easy or hard to connect? Because we're like, hopefully all is well.
I had to capitalize the M for market.
Okay, good to know.
And I just got done digging out of this snow, so I thought I'd give you a little picture of.
Yes, snow day. We haven't even mentioned that. School's canceled. Brian was like, I'm jumping in my car and going to work. And then 10 minutes later, I get a text of like, no, I'm not. I'm
not, never mind. I mean, it was theoretically possible. But behind Liz, we see that is what beautiful southern Utah County looks like. Holy mackerel.
Yes.
Oh, you got a nice view there. Oh, man.
All right, I have just posted the link, so that is available in chat. If you are joining us live, so we're live streaming on Facebook. We're also recording because we post all of our market analysis to YouTube afterwards. So if you want to join us, you're welcome to join the Facebook Live. The email or the password is marketing with a capital N. Otherwise, if you're in the comments and you want to comment there, I'll be keeping my eyes on that. But essentially, we are on day 2 of our end of year market analysis. Each quarter, we go over a different topic. And so the one that we're talking about right now is affordability, right? Said that like 3 times before we connected.
Yeah, right.
And so throughout the year, we've reassessed this topic in different markets. And so now we're going to take a look back if we have screen grabs or just the conversation that we had over the past year, to be able to see, you know, how were our projections, what were our recommendations, what did affordability look like, and then kind of go from there. And then we have 2 more days of our review. Tomorrow, we have rent versus own, and then we go into forecasting. So Friday will be our very last day. You'll have enough of us for the rest of the week or month. You can enjoy the holidays, and then we'll start again come January, the first Wednesday, with forecasting moving forward into the new year. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead. Brian, you are now the host.
Very good. Okay, we don't. This one won't be as long as the other. We're gonna go back and I'll show you a screenshot of our first affordability Facebook Live. I think it was Facebook Live. I think, wasn't it? Let me share my screen here. Let's see. Let's go here. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna first show you this. This is the only screenshot I could really grab. That, well, anyway, I guess there's several, but this is what we looked at. And what we're talking about is when we talk about affordability, there's really 2 parts to this. There's qualifying for a mortgage loan at a certain sales price based on available down payment and so forth. And then there is what you as a home buyer think you can afford. And that's the more important question, really. This focuses a little bit more on the qualifying side of it, because we need to start somewhere. And but what you do, what people, everyone's situation is different. Some people have, a lot of times we have folks who maybe one of the spouses' jobs or income is not we can't use it for qualifying for whatever reason. It's new, it's there's some kind of something to do with that we can't use, and so we want to make sure that we are in the range of affordability. And that's more of an individual question. But in terms of qualifying, there's some rules that all lenders have, us included, that we need to stay, these parameters we need to stay within. So we're just going to, we just went over, this is by the way, this is back in November of last year. So this is a little over a year. So 13 months ago, this is the scenario we ran. And I've recreated a kind of a current one based on newer interest rates. And we talked about this a little yesterday, and we'll hit more on this tomorrow on Friday. But what we looked at is a kind of this hypothetical scenario, which I think is kind of common, not that unusual. If this particular home buyer has an income of $80,000 a year, that's the qualifiable, that's what income we can use to qualify. And back then, the 30-year fixed interest rate was about 2.75. And let me show you this real quick. We went over this yesterday, but I'll just show you. Let me go to the right thing here. Here is my favorite graph of the average interest rates over time. And this is the public site. Freddie Mac, which is one of the lending agencies controlled essentially by the federal government, they put this out every Thursday. It updates, and it's based on a survey of interest rates nationwide. And there's really no bias to it. It's just they've been doing it since 1970, so you can follow this. It's kind of interesting. So I'm going to go back to November, about when we did that previous broadcast. It was November, right around here somewhere. I think it's actually this week. It was mid-November, and the rate back then was 2.72%, so 2.75, pretty close. That's where we were then. And as you can see, the rates have gone down and up, and then COVID hits and they go down and blah, blah, or more COVID.
What was that spike from like January to March? That seems like pretty drastic.
Yeah.
Going up. What was going on then? That was like,
yeah, it's interesting you asked that. So we went from 2.75% to about 3.1, which isn't too dramatic, but it was a quick gain. The main impetus behind this, I believe, was that's when the vaccine started becoming a reality, for the COVID vaccine. So there's a lot of hope that, the vaccine's going to come, everyone's going to get vaccinated, and we're off to the races, and life will get back to normal.
And then variant 2 came.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have then Delta variant hit around April, right? Wasn't it April, May? The Delta variant hit, and then off we go. And a lot of these interest rates, and we'll hit this on Friday, but a lot of this stuff is controlled to a scary degree by the federal government, by the Federal Reserve and the federal government through their policies. And so what they've done is they've forced interest rates down, but the economy definitely is improving. But the main thing we're seeing now is inflation. So inflation is the arch enemy of interest rates. When you see those consumer price index numbers and all these different measurements, the CPI is one of the main ones. When you see those numbers increase, meaning that goods cost more, then that's gonna mean interest rates are gonna chase that inflation. So, but right now,
like, how does that work? And this may be an exception to life in general, because we obviously have had an exceptional year. So for example, lumber and certain materials, building wise and whatnot, went through the roof, right?
Correct.
And there was a huge demand crisis of what we needed versus what was available, and price was kind of that factor. But now, like, I go into Home Depot and a 2x4 is like almost back to normal price. So the price is coming back down. So is that more of like an isolated event, or is that more evidence of, okay, this is going back to normal, even though the price is coming down, but it's kind of like settling in, or how does that fit into things?
Yeah, that's a great example. Lumber, in fact, I call it my Home Depot stud index. You know, you look at a 2x4 stud. When you walk in on the first thing they have on the left side, right, is those what, a 93 and whatever not 8-foot studs, but the regular building studs. What was it, Tanisha? They're up to $8 something, right? $8.
I just wanted to throw up. I was like, I'm not going to do anything. I like realized that part of my, I don't know, some people have, what do you call it, seasonal depression of seasons. I learned that I have like a crafting depression of like, if I can't
improvement. That's right.
I go nuts. So during that whole period, I was like, I can't afford it.
You think about a wall in a basement. You want to do an 8-foot wall, and it's going to cost you what, $100.
Sure.
When lumber hit its peak, that was like 5 times greater than that. You know, just for lumber, and that's crazy. So yeah, no, you're right. What prices of materials, and the lumber was a great example. Is you had a perfect storm of COVID hits. A lot of the production mills that mill this stuff, to make this stuff, they shut down like everybody else, and they didn't know what was going on. I heard, in fact, I was talking to a buddy of mine who owns a garage door company, and he said that there's a vinyl. They use the vinyl in the joints of these doors. There's a special kind of vinyl they use. There's a vinyl manufacturer, I think he said in Pennsylvania. When COVID hit in March of 2020, the guy that owned it just said, forget, I'm retiring. He just shut it down. And he said that was like 16% of the world's vinyl supplier. I mean, just crazy stories like that all over the place. So you had a supply problem. And then all of a sudden, parts of the economy, construction in particular, were booming. For the very few exceptions during COVID, it really boomed nationwide, in most areas. And so you had the supply, high demand, supply was down, and there you go. You get the price. It is crazy. Hopefully we're through that. It sounds like we might be through that for now, because the production's back up.
Sure. So do you feel like now that things are kind of more settling to a normal, that we'll see that starting to climb back up again?
Oh, lumber prices, you mean?
Not lumber prices. I feel like those are going to work themselves back into that new normal that we thought they always kind of stay at. But in general, with interest rates, that now that things are stable and kind of going on that front, that we can anticipate them kind of going up a little bit more.
Yeah, interest rates for sure are going to go up. They have to. The interest rates, anytime you're down in the low 3% range, and certainly under 3%, that's an artificial, the Federal Reserve and the federal government just forcing rates down, and it's really artificial the way they're doing it. And so be sure, by the way, be sure to tune in on Friday. We'll do a deep dive on that. It'll maybe scare everybody, but anyway, yeah, interest rates are definitely heading up. I mean, inflation is the highest at 6.8% last week. Came out, and that's the highest inflation since 1982.
Wow.
Right, that's his Jimmy Carter when after Reagan took over. So that was a tough time. And what did they do to stop that runaway inflation back then? Was the Federal Reserve raised interest rates dramatically just to halt everything. I don't think they're going to do that this time. There's a little bit different situation, and the leadership's a little bit different too. So we'll have to see what happens, but we're definitely going to creep up. it would be most healthy for our economy nationwide if rates just kind of crept up gradually, kind of naturally. If they spike, spikes are bad.
Sure. So I mean, looking back at this past year, we're all over the map as far as what interest rates have done. But kind of having that perspective and reviewing, I guess the main connection is obviously our interest rate is going to apply into what's affordable. So the higher the interest rate, the more of our payment is going towards interest, right?
Correct.
And so that's going to affect that total amount of what we can afford. The lower the interest rate, the better. I remember having conversations with clients around this time of year being like, hey, if you can buy or sell, you're going to be able to get into a home that's, $30,000, $40,000, $60,000 more than what you normally could, just because of that lower interest rate.
Correct. Yeah. In fact, that's a great segue to this. Exactly. Let me show you this. This is pretty close to the example we used a year ago, 13 months ago. And the rate was 2.75. Let's put in the current rate, going to be, and by the way, rates will differ they vary with programs and all that, but this is kind of we're at 0.3%, so 0.375% higher than we were 1 year ago, as of right this very second. And so notice at the bottom, at 2.75%, this particular scenario, this particular buyer would qualify for about $492,000, right? I'm changing nothing else except the rate, and it drops to 470. So 470,000. So in this particular case, it's about $22,000 less of buying power for that 0.3%. And people ask me all the time, hey, for every 0.1%, how does that affect qualifying? And the answer is it's very specific for every particular person. Depends on this is a zero down payment example I used. So depending on your down payment you have available, if any, depending on credit scoring and all that kind of stuff, it will vary quite a bit. But it makes a big difference, but not like $100,000 difference. So I wouldn't panic. But we do know, I think it's pretty safe to say interest rates are heading up. I don't think we'll see under 3% rates for. It would take something pretty catastrophic to get them back down that low again. So we're going to see them kind of creep up. I think it'll be relatively calm, but so the longer you wait, just in terms of interest rates, the less the affordability will be hurt that way for sure moving forward.
Got it. And when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing a lot of customizable fields. And like you had mentioned, something that isn't illustrated here is depending on what type of loan you're doing or what type of program you're utilizing, those also have different requirements and different things that will be adjusted towards your circumstance. And so, like we say all the time, we can customize this for your numbers. In general, and kind of looking at reviewing the past year, we know that interest rates is going to play a big factor, and it has over the past year. And moving forward, we have a general idea, but being able to dial this in for your exact circumstance is going to be able to give you a lot of leverage in seeing what's possible for you. And like Brian had said, the difference between the two maybe span 20,000 or so. But at the same time, that's more than likely, and Liz, correct me if you feel that this isn't as accurate, but I feel like within a 20,000 margin, you're still getting the same square footage, you're still getting the same numbers of beds and bath, but maybe there needs to be a little bit of, TLC, or maybe there's parts of the basement that are unfinished, or you have a smaller yard. I feel like those are the trade-offs that you're getting at that price point. What has been your experience?
Yeah, I agree. Or maybe another, $30 a month payment or something, if you have to have those things. And it seems like 20,000 is doable, whether you're sacrificing a little on the payment or you're sacrificing a little on exactly what you wanted. So
thank you.
Yeah. We just have to make the best of the situation we're in, the best of where we are. I'm here on my back deck.
I know, I'm very nervous watching you move. I'm like, please don't slip. I see the stairs and I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm on my back deck here and I can't resist. I've got these stairs.
No.
And I've got this sled. And I just got to go down.
Oh,
I'm not going to complain. I don't know if I want to see the forward-facing video or the backwards-facing video. And I really hope you don't get a leg caught in one of those like
black rails. I know, but wouldn't it be so fun?
Is this one of those what could go wrong videos? I think it's gonna go
Can you
viral.
get your husband to record so we have like dual angles?
No, so we'll make the path first, and then we'll do it, and then there will be no fail, right?
Oh no, just go for it now.
Just do it.
Yeah, why not?
But I don't want you to get hurt because then I'll feel like semi-responsible. But I'm like totally in this of like, oh yes, please do.
Liz, there is a brand new Intermountain Hospital down there, I think, isn't there? Is it open yet?
Oh yeah, there's a couple. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'd go for it.
There's a new one in Spanish Fork. There's one in Salem. There's one in Payson. We're good.
So good. While we're naming where you're at, Liz, tell us the name of your Facebook group, and if people want to get a hold of you, where are you located? What areas do you cover?
Yeah, it's South Valley, brick by brick at South Valley. I live in Elk Ridge. You're looking at the views from Elk Ridge right here. Elk Ridge is just a bit east and north of Payson. And so I cover Payson. Down at the bottom of the hill is Salem. Over to the east further is Mapleton, Springville. Farther down Spanish Fork. And then of course, you keep going, you hit Provo.
Perfect. Well, these are the type of moments that I'm talking about in the sense of Liz is going to go down this adventure and it's either going to be in the comments, it'll be in the email thread. So stay tuned. Brian, take us through the last of this analysis, what we're looking at. If you have any other thoughts for this year, take us home with this.
Yeah, so we're back on our same example. Using our current general interest rate. When you make a payment, and this is the payment we use to qualify, which is good because this is the payment that you'll be making on this particular house, right? In this scenario. So your total payment here, this is just from our example, $2,443, and a payment consists of the actual principal and interest, which is the loan payment itself, taxes, whatever the property taxes. Every house has a assessment by the county, whatever county you're in, and they say, okay, your property taxes are going to be whatever it is this year. I think we use $2,100 per year. And then the mortgage company, we just say, hey, why don't you make your payment with that 175, which is the $2,100 tax divided by 12. So every year in November, when the taxes are due, we'll pay that for you out of what's called an escrow account. So it makes it real easy. Homeowners insurance is whatever your homeowners insurance bill is from your agent, whoever your guy is or your gal that wants to buy your own insurance, and we just make sure that's paid every year. And mortgage insurance is what you get to pay if you put less than 20% down. That will vary a lot depending on several factors. And then mortgage insurance on a normal loan, conventional loan, will drop off automatically in this particular case in 182 months. I don't even know how many years that is. Like 11.
I want to plug into here really quickly because I think so many people get caught up on mortgage insurance and they're deathly afraid and they don't want to pay it. And so they're thinking, okay, I need to wait until I have 20% and it's a complete waste. So I just want to kind of see that out in the year review of where we just came from. So a lot of people, okay, let's say we round up and that's $200 a month that you're paying or losing, right? And so over the course of a year, you've now spent $1,200 towards mortgage insurance that in your mind, you've just flushed has been a complete waste and you're really mad about it, right? Well, go back and watch the video that we did yesterday, right? Because you'll learn that you would have gained over 100,000 at least minimum. I feel like with most of the areas, we had from 40 to 60% increase of home value from last year to now. And so what my question to you is would you like to pay $1,200 and get a return on your investment and have over $100,000 of equity in your home? It's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Clients within a year, not even the full year, saying, hey, can we refinance and do a cash out because we have this equity, right? And depending on your loan, your term, different things will kind of answer when you're able to do that. But it's a huge opportunity. And so even though this is a cost or a fee that doesn't go towards your loan, I'd almost look at it as an investment, because it's an investment towards an opportunity that you're going to be able to cash out, leverage, use in the future, that without, you're not going to be able to gain. And so the flip question is, okay, over the next year, can I save that, down payment? What is the down payment for this? That 470, 20%, what is that?
This one I choose a 0 down payment.
Yes,
Just
but
to
if
make
someone were
the
to
math
pay
easy.
20% down, what would be that total amount?
The difference would be if you did 20%, so you'd be about, and it kind of goes, let's see, that's about what, 90,000, I guess.
Okay.
Oops, I don't need that. There we go. So it'd be 90. So that would just increase the sales price you could do.
Sure.
Right. That's how we're kind of calculating backwards. And mortgage insurance, of course, would go away. Put 0 in there, and you can see the difference. So you could qualify for quite a bit more.
Sure. But how likely and how long is it going to take someone to save up $90,000 in
depending on the appreciation numbers, meaning how much homes are increasing in value, very, very few people can keep pace with savings. In other words, think about this. So look, yesterday we talked about a townhome in Bluffdale, South Lake County. We said, all right, that house sold for, what was it, Tanisha, $369,000 in October, November or December, I think, of 2020. And about a year later, in October or November of 2021, the same unit or the same type of unit sold for $490,000, it's like $130,000 more. And that's an extreme example, but it's an actual example, right? And so the question is, how much can you save in order to keep up with that? Well, most people can't save, in that case, $130,000, right?
I have a real life example.
Yeah.
Can I give you my real life example?
Yes, please.
I have 2 daughters. One of them bought a house 2 years ago. Townhome, cute little place, paid, 200,000, 205, 200,000, something like that. 200,000, I think was what it was. My other daughter, they got married the same year. Another daughter got married a little bit later. COVID hit. We thought prices were going to go down. So she decided to wait and save. They waited, they saved. They lived with the in-laws for 2 years. Just sacrificed, crimped, and saved. They saved a good chunk of money. Bought a house in the same neighborhood for almost $300,000. And so basically, I mean, by saving, they kept themselves basically in the same position as the first daughter. So they're both basically in the same position. They're basically paying the same mortgage, et cetera, et cetera. One had to scrimp and save and, sacrifice for 2 years. The other one didn't. And that was with the appreciation so much higher and than normal and everything else. But yeah.
No, I love that point. I feel like it illustrates something that we don't talk about very often, just because it's hard to assign a dollar amount to it, but just that emotional experience that you're going to go through. What does that look like? What is your day to day? If you're saving and you have a job, like, does that mean you're getting a second job? What time are you sacrificing? What does that look like every day, and what monetary value does that hold? And I can tell you right off the bat, living with anyone other than like your designated family is difficult, because you have different living styles that overlap or they crisscross, and that's a challenge. And you have other challenges that you're going to face, right? And so definitely. Thinking about putting myself in an emotional or physical relationship, or just with this idea of what it would mean for me to be able to get that goal for 2 years of my life, that's a long time. What monetary value does that hold in me being in that awesome neighborhood and having that life experience with my family for 2 years? Like, one of them seems like, oh man, this is a grind versus an awesome opportunity. And if that opportunity, in retrospect, we're thinking, well, on one end, your first daughter may have had that mortgage insurance and she may have paid that $1,200 that I mentioned before. But look at her life experience over the past 2 years. That's priceless. And we have
the other kids have it too.
And like we had mentioned before, you know, like everyone's going to make the decisions in the time that are best for them, and they're going to make their own journey, which is great. And we're just trying to provide all of the different information so you can make an educated decision, right?
Yeah. So I've put some safety nets in place here. I've got my real estate agent on the left. I've got my lender on the right. I've got my path cleared.
Oh.
I'm ready to go.
Oh my gosh. I might hold my breath. I'm ready. How do we make this full screen? Can I make her the house?
I've got my phone here for an emergency call. Just hold on. Yeah,
No,
I'm ready.
There is no possible way I can be hurt here because
What could go wrong? Yes.
Nothing. The worst that could go wrong is I could slip off the sled and it could go without me.
No, Liz. There's much worse.
Okay, wait. Don't go down yet. Brian, stop sharing your screen.
Let me get out of here. Stop share. Okay.
Okay, now you and I are not allowed to talk. Oh, where did it go? I just lost it. There it is. Because otherwise our face will take over the screen. Okay.
Oh, I will scary squeal. I'm telling you that.
Okay, we're ready, Liz.
Oh, you ready? Let me get my glove on.
This is either gonna be really uneventful or pretty entertaining.
It's probably going to be pretty uneventful, but here we go.
Either way, the buildup is fantastic.
All right. Real estate agent on the right, my lender on the left, my sled underneath me. Here I go. Go, baby, go.
We survived.
She made it.
Put on that baby
I made it.
times and add some water and it'll be ready.
Pretty good.
That was easy. That was smooth sailing.
That's how it goes when you set yourself up for success, right? Real life example. Brian, I know I booted our screen share a little prematurely. Is there anything else that we want to talk about, jump into? Affordability is kind of one of those things that looking back, there's not a huge conversation, right? But understanding how it works, going to that website, and I'll again put that in the comments so that way you can see it's a real live website. It's always changing, but now you can understand, okay, when things are happening in the world around me, it's going to have an impact on my interest rate, and that interest rate is going to have an impact on my affordability. So understanding and taking a look back today, I hope that you're able to walk away with the tools that you can be able to apply them to our future and what we're living now to be able to analyze how it's going to affect you moving forward.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome.
Okay, awesome. Well, we will see everyone back tomorrow. We are going to jump into rent versus own. We'll take a look back on the past year, and then we'll finish everything up on Friday. I will add in the notes the website that has the interest rates that Brian had mentioned, and then stay tuned because we'll have these emails, alerts, and things ready for you to be able to jump into the new year and keep going along with us.
Very good.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. We'll see ya.